Good morning. The poem by William Butler Yeats that I've chosen for this morning could be considered one of his most thematically obscure and difficult to understand. But every reader takes their own meaning from a poem. The poem is called The Second Coming, and it was written in 1921. And as background to it, Yeats believed that the world was on the threshold of an apocalyptic revelation, and history had reached the end of the old Gaia, outer Gaia, and the beginning of an inner Gaia vortex. It is very stunning and very violent imagery. When I first read the poem, I always considered it, the first lines of it, more equated to politics in Ireland. In 1921, there was a bit of a vortex happening closer to home for Yeats than the spiritual vortex that he speaks of. 1921 saw the ceasefire in the truce in the War of Independence, saw the establishment of the Parliament in Northern Ireland, and both events always changed utterly, and the political life of Ireland was set in place by those two momentous decisions. I say, I always, prior to Seamus Heaney's Hope and History rhyming, I always associated the opening lines of this poem with politics in Ireland. I leave it for each of you to make up your own mind. The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand, surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming, hardly are those words out when a vast image out of the spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.